Welcome back to the MBP Movie Podcast. Tonight, it's another Is It Really That Bad?
And our choice of movie is No Holds Barred.
What are you doing?
That's what he does. That's what Vincent answers it like. So tonight's movie is No Holds Barred, but first we're going to do things a little bit different than usual. We're going to give a little background on the movie, which we normally do, and then we're going to just talk maybe through the structure of the film and key scenes.
Yeah, rather than likes and dislikes.
Yeah. I don't really think that works for Is It Really That Bad, in all honesty, anyway, but we might do that for future reviews as well. So, No Holds Barred, the 1989 classic starring Hulk Hogan, made by WWF Films, or WWE Films as they call it.
I was going to say, was it by them? Because the logo was on the beginning, but I didn't know if they originally did it.
I was going to say this for trivia, but because it's pre the movie, I'll explain. Apparently, Vincent McMahon and Hulk Hogan hated the script, so they locked themselves in a hotel room overnight and rewrote the entire script.
Alright.
And
they did a good job.
I'd love to know what the script was like before. Now, as you can tell by my t-shirt, I am a massive Hulk Hogan fan. I always was as a kid and stuff. And I mean, I'm not into wrestling now, but I'm still I still consider myself a Hulkamaniac.
Do you have any first memories of these? Sorry.
I have vague memories of it being on Sky back in early 90s, and I don't remember if you watched it or not.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
That was probably back in the day when you didn't actually pay for Sky Movies.
Yeah.
It was free.
But I remember it being on, and I think they did. I think there was WWF Superstars or something on Sky One before it, and then it went into.
I know I watched it, and I have some memories of seeing the end again, and I remember thinking this isn't anywhere near as good as it used to be. And that was years ago. But I also remembered at the end, how I saw the memory that there was red boxes or something. There were, like the steps. They were more like red boxes, but it's a red carpet, isn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
At the very end, where the
the big fight.
The sort of bit where the spectators sit.
Oh, got you. Yeah. So, do we just get into it?
Off
the bat. So, obviously, it starts off with a wrestling match, and
I was a bit surprised by that because I didn't remember it. Sorry, that's another thing I meant to say. I didn't remember it being proper out and out wrestling, which I suppose it twists it a little bit later, doesn't it? But I didn't remember this proper wrestling match at the beginning with Hulk Hogan doing all his Hulk Hogan moves. But he's not Hulk Hogan.
And he's
what's he called? Rip
Thomas.
Thomas.
And he does his rip him. Yeah. So anyway, he's in a wrestling match with Bill Eadie, who was Demolition Axe in WWF.
Demolition.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I was gonna ask you tonight. Because I knew they weren't Legion do, and I kept thinking, who are they?
Well, they were like Legion.
But I straight away recognised him and thought, I'm sure he's one of Demolition.
And you've got commentary by Jesse the Body Ventura and Mean Gene Okerlund. Mean Gene wasn't a commentator.
I think Mean Gene's actually quite good, isn't he?
He
sounds more natural on that than I think he did maybe even in wrestling.
So anyway, that match lasts like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it does.
And then obviously we go to Kurt Fuller's character, Burrell, who is the bad guy.
Oh,
the evil network executive.
He's more like a gangster than an evil network executive.
Well, I don't know many network executives that have a blank checkbook for the company, and let's just get to it. Basically, he wants Hulk Hogan, Rip Thomas to sign for his network, like he's an independent wrestler or whatever.
Yeah, because he's obviously meant to be, as Hulk Hogan was the biggest star. So.
Yeah. But it's like he's independent, and it's like he's like, I'm going to fight this guy like a boxer type thing. Yeah. Anyway, and then he...
Well, the thing is, they portray wrestling as real in this, don't they?
This is maybe why
when I was a kid, thought wrestling was real.
I think it sort of turns more into like a UFC thing later, to be honest, but cage fighting type thing. But anyway, obviously, Hulk Hogan turns him down, and it's absolutely hilarious, and he rips up his checkbook. Shoves it down his throat.
Yeah.
And so the evil network executive doesn't think, right, I'll try and entice him again. He thinks, right, I'm going to send out some people to murder him.
Is this the bit where he gets in the limo?
Yeah.
Because this is the best bit of the movie.
Yeah, and he fights them all. And
but he gets in the limo and the shutters come up with the metal shutters, so he's banging on the thing.
He's going the wrong way.
And the guy pulls up, doesn't he? And obviously then the guys come. But that's my favourite bit of the film that I was going to tell you about. The bit where he busts out at the top.
I know.
It's like a grenade's gone off. It just like explodes massively.
His eyes forever and he going, ah. But the best bit is when he gets the limo driver and he's like, what's that smell? It doesn't even sound like Hulk Hogan to say. It's weird. Dookie.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Right,
I think even up to this point, there's the bits where he keeps going.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Have they recorded him after as well?
I think it's ADR'd badly.
It's like, what's going on here?
But then you meet Joan Severance's character and Samantha, and Hulk Hogan is being like the biggest creep in the world. He's sat there and he's going, which is in this big meeting room, and it's like you would not do that.
If you watch this film, if you watch this film in about 5 seconds, you'll realise everything's over the top stereotypes. Everything, it's absolutely amazing. Oh god, like the bit where the I don't know if I'm moving on too far. The bit where they go to the bar.
Well, we can just move on to that bit.
There's that woman, and she's like, because they wanted to be skanky, she's like snorting up and like like snot, like it's disgusting.
Do you know what makes me laugh? The villain Brell's got his like lackeys, his two stooges, and Vince McMahon later in the WWF used to have those two stooges, and it's almost like he thought, I'll do that later, you know.
I recognise the guy with the glasses.
Yeah, he's been in loads of things. Yeah, but that bit when he goes, where do I go to bleed the old lizard? And he goes, in your pants. So obviously they do this battle of the tough guys, as they call it, which is the lamest name for a fight ever. And then Zeus obviously basically just murders people, doesn't he? He's a murderer.
Well, to be fair though, I watched the entire movie.
And they put it on TV,
and he doesn't really hurt anybody that badly. It seems to be.
Does he not?
Well, he just sort of. Did you watch it?
I thought
he sort of hits them, but he doesn't really. They're just on the floor, and then.
What's so funny is because the Tiny Lister ended up. They actually brought him into wrestling. The way he acts is the way he hits. It's very.
Well, you can tell he's not a wrestler, can't you?
No. Anyway, so he wins Battle of the Tough Guys, and Braille gets him. Wants him to fight Rip. Doesn't he ends up beating up crippling Rip's brother?
Right, the bit where he cripples Rip's brother. He doesn't have the. He starts it. Rip's brother just hits him. You're like, what?
And Rip's brother.
Right, I swear to God, though. Right, he kicks him when he's on the floor. I'm like, how does he go from that to being paralysed? He's not even hitting that badly.
I think he just got a black eye and he's on some crutches. Anyway, that's Mark Pellegrino, who Supernatural fans will know as the devil, which is absolutely brilliant. Another role for him. And what about the bit where Rip goes into that? It's like a gym, and Zeus is stood there. It's a hologram.
That is the word. He's so bad. He looks like they've just took the image and pasted out that bit of the film. He's so bad. Oh gosh.
And then obviously, should we just get to the main fight?
Well, yeah, it goes on to
pay-per-view. Kind of you know what actually reminds me of the end fight, the Captain Freedom style thing in Running Man. Kurt Fuller's in Running Man, isn't he?
Yeah.
So kind of maybe that's
the thing that gets me is this is supposed to be that he'll write a blank check to Rip, whatever he's called.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting.
Let's just call him Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. Right? But yeah, it gets to a little TV studio and it's this big event.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a tiny.
And then when Hulk Hogan fights the match at the beginning, which is clearly Matt WWF Wrestling, it's like a massive arena full of people in it.
Exactly, yeah. So they have this big fight, don't they? And obviously they've kidnapped.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan kills him, doesn't he? Pretty much kills him, doesn't he? Or does he kill him?
No. Did you watch it again?
Yeah, but I thought he killed him. I won't really pay much attention.
No. At the end, he's because Hulk Hogan starts winning, he starts tearing up the TV station. He executes himself because you can't always have Hulk Hogan.
There you go. No.
Although to be fair, how he leaves Zeus with blood dribbling out his mouth, I thought, he's probably dead. So I don't know. Maybe it just depends.
What about? Can we just rewind a sec? What about when he's doing press ups on the bed and you think it's his bum and it's by the bottom of his feet?
It's like, what did they use for that? It looks like they've got. It literally looks like they've got. It's not the real feet though, is it? It looks like they've got a top.
I don't know. What does he turn around and say to her? Don't wait up for me or something.
Yeah.
Breaks bed, doesn't he?
But do you know what else she's out of, by the way?
Oh, she's in Cena Mabel Hinder.
Yeah.
I think she's absolutely.
Isn't a bit where she's in a red dress in that?
I can't remember.
Is that her?
I think she's absolutely gorgeous there, though. She's a beautiful actress.
Might be thinking of the wrong film.
But yeah, anyway, so obviously Hulk Hogan saves the day.
Well, I think this kind of ruined her career because she was in Seeing No Evil, Hear No Evil, and then after this she didn't really do any big films.
Would you hire her after this? Anyway, I thought before we say whether it's really that bad, there's actually quite a few wrestlers in it. One of them's Stan Hansen, who was a WCW wrestler. At the time, he wasn't even in the WWF, so I reckon it might have been a location thing where he's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Are most of them wrestlers then? Because there's a lot of big guys in it.
Well, Jeep Swenson, it was, and he was...
Who was he?
He was Bane in Batman and Robin. I actually don't know what his wrestling thing was at all. Joey Morella, the referee, he's in it as well.
So I can't stop laughing when he ends up he ends up a cripple, but he hardly gets beaten. It's ridiculous.
So basically, it's a little bit like Rocky IV in a way, although he doesn't die like Apollo Creed.
No, it was so bad though because the scene after he's just been beaten up is does he go into the gym looking for him and then there's the hospital scene. But the first hospital scene, he's in this big bath thing, and I'm like, he got hit a few times, then kicked in the stomach, not in the back, in the stomach. How did he go from that to being in a wheelchair? I was like, what the hell is that about? Brilliant.
So,
brilliantly bad.
Shall we just move on to like box office and things?
Yeah. You've got it this week.
So budget was 8 million. And it grossed 16 mil, which how the freak did this gross 16 million?
Well, they probably sold on Hulk Hogan's appeal, wouldn't
well,
they? That's
yeah, probably. And I think probably as well, it probably did quite well on a home video afterwards. And in fact, WWF did a pay-per-view called No Holds Barred, the match the movie. And the show, they had like an event, like a pay-per-view event, which was all pre-tape matches and stuff.
Yeah.
And the main event, it won Hulk Hogan versus Zeus. It was Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Bad Beefcake versus Randy Macho Man Savage and Zeus in a steel cage. And basically, Zeus was put with Macho Man because Zeus could not wrestle to save his life. And I always remember Saturday night's main event when Hulk Hogan fought Big Bossman in the steel cage. And Zeus was on the steps waiting for him, and Zeus knocked him down. And then it went to adverts. When he came out the adverts, Hulk Hogan was still down. And apparently, I found out years later, they actually had to refilm that the next day because Tiny Lister was obviously an actor, not a wrestler.
Yeah.
He kept missing his hits because he thought it was... So they had to go and reshoot that whole bit the next day. So yeah, anyway, they did this whole pay-per-view thing, which wasn't available on WWE Network, but now it is. And it's part of the home video collection, but I'm not sure where it's on. Maybe like Super Tape 2
I did miss one thing. What was with his funny unibrow that kind of started here and went all the way?
Well, apparently that was a Vincent Mann edition, I've heard. So,
but it was just leave him alone.
I think they just wanted to make him a bit monstrous, didn't they?
Just look weird.
But anyway, so Tiny Lister ended up going into WWF wrestling as Zeus, and it was all. He says Vincent Mann offered him to run with the belt for a year, as the champion, and I can almost kind of believe it and think maybe WrestleMania. There's rumours WrestleMania 6 was supposed to be Hulk Hogan versus Zeus, and obviously because Zeus couldn't wrestle, I think they just abandoned it and did this whole the match the movie thing, right. Which obviously would add to the. To some money to the film. I don't know if it's included in the box office because technically it is a box office, but I'm not sure how it works. Yeah. But obviously Hulk Hogan fought the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 instead of Zeus, didn't he? So that was the big match. But yeah, so apparently Hulk Hogan said to Vincent Mann, if this movie loses money, I'll give you my wage back. And then Vincent Mann said, well, I guess check's still in mail because he never got his money. So even though it cost 8 and made 16, I think the film wasn't profitable.
Well, because you forget about that because you see a budget, but you don't always include the marketing. Yeah. So once the marketing's been included, it probably just didn't make enough money.
Yeah, definitely.
Which didn't surprise him.
No. So what do you think of like the whole idea of tying it into wrestling? Do you think that could have worked if Zeus could have worked better and stuff? Or
possibly, but it's just a really badly scripted film, and it's really. I
think put it this way: is it really that bad? Yes.
Oh, we totally missed a bit, but the bit in the cafe, that was one of my favourite scenes. 2 guys walk in with a gun. They could shoot anybody, and there's a bit where Hulk Hogan says to that woman, "What's her name?"
Samantha.
Yeah, when I say something, and he literally says it straight away. So why didn't you say duck to it? And he grabs this chair, and I'm thinking, could have shot him by now. He throws this chair at one of them. And the other guy's not even looking at him. He's looking the other way. And he walks round the table and gets him. And you're like, how did he just not get shot?
Did you notice the way Hulk Hogan dressed when he wasn't wrestling? Like in those, like, I don't know what you call it. Like, cotton like bodysuit things.
I can't say I would take it much notice.
Well, he basically like almost like wearing like a tracksuit. Apparently that's
like a training. Like
apparently that's how he. Yeah, so it's apparently how he dresses. I mean,
right.
I can't remember his name now.
Well, let's be honest, your training gear is pretty comfortable.
Yeah. It was the guy who played Brother Love. I can't remember his name. Bruce Pritchard. He said that they would go for meals at nice restaurants. Hulk Hogan would turn up dressed like that.
Really?
Because he'd literally just come out from the gym or something. But they didn't say people didn't say because it was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's undoubtedly. People always say years later, like, because Stone Cold Steve Austin apparently sold more shirts, but they couldn't record it back then. Hulk Hogan's undoubtedly the biggest wrestling superstar of all time.
Yeah, I think so. I just think people like Steve Austin would, especially around that was Attitude Era, wanted so
internet
kids
existed
want to be
as
watching,
well.
But I just feel that I didn't watch it so much then, but I just feel to me that Austin would be nowhere near, in my opinion, as big as.
Oh no! Well, Bruce Pritchard even says back then they used to sell shirts off stands. They didn't have numbers, tallies and stuff. Well, and like Hulk Hogan popularised wrestling under the name.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well, he was there a much long time before, so people will stop watching wrestling by the time Steve Austin came. They'll all know Hulk Hogan. They'll still know him today, and they're just kind of carrying on through. So to me, he'd be bigger than Austin. And
surprisingly, this wasn't Hulk Hogan's last film. He did quite a few more films after this. I mean, obviously there was a big thing about him wanting to go into going into Hollywood to become like the new Arnold Schwarzenegger type role thing, but didn't quite pan out. But he's had some success, I suppose.
Yeah, he just wasn't, and I'm no disrespect to him, and I know it's hard to act as I have proven when we've done some films, but he's not a very good actor, and that's the problem.
No, he's not,
But I will say one thing about his film, and one thing I will give him credit for: when he's on the screen, he's definitely got presence.
Oh yeah, well that's what I was about to say.
There's something about him, and although the movie's not great, no.
Is it really that bad? Yes, it is.
Yeah, we might as well get that out of the way. But when he's on screen, it's not boring. I mean, sometimes it's laughable, funny. But he's still sort of, in some respects, enjoying that in a certain way. But when he's
laughable.
Not on screen, you're like, I really don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I agree with you. When he's on screen, it's hilarious, isn't it? Because he's so over the top and crazy and stuff. But I think basically Hulk Hogan's legacy will always be as the wrestler, and I think. Oh, yeah. Like I say, wrestling, my dad always used to say, because my dad didn't like wrestling, but he said Hulk Hogan knew how to work the crowd, and I think that's probably why he kept going back and why he still wants to go back, because that's where his home is, isn't it?
I think you've got to miss that when you get the audience reaction.
Yeah, definitely.
When you don't want that, you get buzz out of it, don't you? So you're going to want that again.
100%, So I guess that's no holds barred then?
Have you done any trivia?
Yeah, it's all we've gone through. Oh, yeah, because the big thing was that, actually, one last thing. Hulk Hogan broke Tiny Lister's nose during one of the fights. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Complete accident. Tiny Lister, actually, because there was all the hoopla of Hulk Hogan and this racism.
Yeah.
Tiny Lister actually stuck up for him, and he said he's a really good friend of his. So.
Oh, really?
I mean, Tiny Lister, when you see him in real life speaking, it's so weird, because he always plays psychos like The Dark Knight. It's so weird that he's in The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah,
he's in The Dark Knight, and he's all that psycho look, and obviously, I think his most popular role is probably as Debo in Friday.
I was going to say
that's got to be his most known for. Yeah. I mean,
don't he ride a BMX in that as well?
I can't remember.
I'm sure he's got a BMX.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it's I think both of them found success. Hulk Hogan back in the wrestling and with the wrestling, and Zeus with movies, because he has done quite a few movies. His work continued to work.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I heard from Kurt Fuller in a lot of years. Did this kill his career as well?
Who's Kurt Fuller?
The bad guy.
Oh,
did this kill his career? Because he were in a few 80s movies and you don't see it.
I don't know when in the 80s this were done. I thought he'd done stuff after
this was 89.
But he's a lot better in other stuff than he is this. But then if everyone's acting over the top, he's just joining in, and maybe he was told to do that.
Film this...
Because wrestling was, especially then, was very over the top in terms of how they talked and presented themselves and stuff. So.
Well, just going back to the box office quickly, I forgot to mention, this film debuted at number 2 behind Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I bet it was very far number 2.
Well, I'm wondering if that had just come out, because if that had just come out, I'd have been like looking at calendar thinking, I'm not releasing my film when Indiana Jones is coming out.
Yeah, strange, but maybe sometimes though they think that if there's a big movie coming out, we'll release ours, because if people can't get in for that, they'll come and see our movie.
Yeah. So I guess that's no all's bad then,
Yeah, and it really, really is that bad.
Yes, it really is.
If you like them films that are kind of bad and
Yeah.
they're funny,
I was
then
gonna say,
you might get some enjoyment out of this.
I think if you watch this late night with a couple of mates,
when I watched it
know,
the other day, I thought, I wish I was watching this later, and I think it'd be funny.
Food, maybe a bit of drink and stuff. You'd probably have a good laugh of it.
Yeah,
and if you want to drink every time Hulk Hogan just goes, you'd probably be drunk by then.
Oh yeah, if you want to play a drinking game, yeah, you'll be very drunk.
So No Holds Barred. Don't watch it, or do. So we wanted to finish off by we're going to start telling what we're going to do the week after. We're actually going to start we're going to do Horror-tober this year. We're going to do it for the month of October, which is going to be covering horror films and films with elements of horror, not necessarily straight up horror. And we thought we'd start a week early.
Yeah.
And go with the Monster Squad next week.
Yeah, so if you like that, tune in next week.
Goonies with monsters, what's not to like? I really like it. So that's us, isn't it?
Yeah. Till next time.
So we haven't given all the plugs yet.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Premature. So you can follow us at MBP Movie Pod on Twitter, and you can email us at marshallbrushproductions@gmail.com.
Or don't email us.
Well, yeah, because you haven't got any so far. I'm still waiting. So what you gonna do when the MBP Movie Podcast runs wild on you?